All right, I'm being joined right now by Showtime President, Mr. Steven Espinoza. Steven, how many times have you been asked this week about the future of Showtime Sports and boxing?
I can always do one more. That's fine. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. I don't even know the guy that put the tweet out, but it's out there. We've heard some rumblings. What's the latest, and what can we expect for Showtime Boxing?
I mean, honestly, like there's a couple guys who put it out. The one who's got this very detailed explanation, none of which makes any sense, none of which is actually factually true in terms of his basis for saying anything. But look, this is not new. We've been hearing this from at least 2018 when HBO went out. I've been hearing it since I started. I wasn't going to last 2 years. Mayweather deal was stupid. PBC is going to go broke, and so are we. So, the reality, you can't get too caught up on it. Our response has always been just trying to continue to make the best fights possible, and I think the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, it's been a banner year for Showtime. Some huge pay-per-views, another one here. So your response, a little jab to Dana White, $20 million gates, 3 of them this year alone. But just going back to the Showtime point for next year, the report did say there's only going to be pay-per-views. That means Showbox will go away, or Showtime Championship Boxing will go away. A lot of fans out there are upset. A lot of fans out there are looking for answers. Will we see championship-level fights on Showtime in the 2024 calendar year?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's always a process that we go through at this point, a budget process, and, that plays out. So, the reality is, we don't know what the future holds. There's a lot of transition going on in the media business, in the sports media business, week to week. So, look, when there's something definitive to announce, we'll be open and announce it.
Pay-per-views will be there, though.
Look, the sport is going to, continue to flourish, regardless, and I'm very confident of that. And and as for the future holds, look, all we can do is control what we can control, continue to make the best possible fights, and support the sports the best way we know how.
Yeah. So Dana White has a lot to say, man. That guy really, I think he likes you. I think the amount of time he spends talking about you, I think he generally likes you.
Look, I'm just minding my own business. I'm always surprised when I come up as the topic of conversation in his press conferences.
Where does it stem from? I'm trying to figure out, where does this venom come from? There was the McGregor-Mayweather fight that made everyone a lot of money. It seemed like it was a big, rousing success. Everyone was happy. Is that where it begins?
I don't know. I mean, it's gotten to the point where even Conor, and I reconciled, so to speak.
So, you guys did?
Yeah,
what was that? Is that the?
That
what
was
that?
I ran into him backstage at the Tank versus Ryan fight.
Unbelievable. And did he have to ask you for a ticket?
His managers, did, but
that must have been a great email. Come on, Steven, just flex for once.
No. That's not.
Okay, you're on a ticket.
I wouldn't take it on him. I think I eventually got tickets from the MGM anyway. Not that I said no. I ran into him backstage, and he's, I said, okay, it was all just promotion. It was all salesmanship. I was like, oh, okay, if you say so.
That was a moment, though, in time. I mean, when you look back, when you're long retired, and you look back at that Mayweather-McGregor press conference, and you're right in the middle of it, what the hell was that?
I am fairly confident, almost 100%, that I'll never be in a situation where I can be booed by 17,000 people again.
Yeah, that was unreal. That was a moment in time. But I don't understand. Dana White, he just has it in for Showtime, has it in for you. Is this going to go back and forth? Where do you see this ending?
No, I mean, look, it's funny. My point yesterday really wasn't. I understand because of the timing, people took it as a response to him. My point was really that these are big events. These are history-making events. We've done 3 of them in the last 20 years. And yes, I said UFC hasn't, but the point is, it's really hard to do events of this stature. UFC's got a great business, and the point was they've never done it, and here we are. All I did is state facts. We've done 3 $20 million gates. UFC has it. His response was calling me a bunch of names.
Yeah, it's personal.
So it's sort of it's degenerated into a grade school level conversation. I'm just not that interested in it. It's sort of, look, I'm not going to have a battle of wits with someone who's unarmed. It's like,
another one, a good one, like that.
The conversation's not going to continue. It's just, there's more point.
You went executive. You gave them executive diss.
I was stating facts. I didn't say anything personal. I stated facts. It's our hard numbers.
Yes, they are. They're very good numbers, too. The future of boxing is always something that's going to be discussed forever. The great Larry Merchant once said, you can't kill the sport and you can't save the sport. There's nothing out there that can do that. What do you see, like, the sport, obviously 2023 banner year, not just for Showtime, but the sport as a whole. Do you think there'll be more pay-per-views? Do you think streaming will kind of take a hold once and for all?
Well, I think so. I mean, look, we're seeing a huge reset. I mean, you and I could do, 2 hours on the media business and the sports media business and, the ESPN situation and Charter and what ESPN's business looks for. Like, everything's in flux, from the streaming business to the sports business to sports rights. I think we're looking at a media market where there's going to be more change than we've ever seen. I mean, we all know where it's going. Eventually it's probably going to be all streaming.
Do you think it'll ever rotate back, though? Cyclical, like fashion cyclical. Like, everyone has streaming apps, and now I feel like there's so many streaming apps that people are getting rid of the streaming apps and they're going back to cable.
Well, it's sort of, it's funny because at some point, people are saying, oh, it's too expensive and too complicated. You have to do all this with cable. Streaming is simpler. Now it's gotten to the point where it's not any cheaper and it's not less complex.
I feel like I'm paying for apps that I don't even know I have.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, okay, the cost is getting the same. Now, I think it's interesting, now, maybe there's a sort of an off-ramp on this in what happened with Charter, not to get too much into media, but the fact that, Charter's solution with Disney was to sort of package up traditional cable with the app and give both access. That's the same way that Paramount Plus is. If you are a Showtime cable subscriber, you get the Paramount Plus app, for free. So, that's how you get your Showtime digital stuff. So, look, whether it's a side-by-side world or something, look, there's a reckoning coming. We're feeling the correction right now. And, what it looks like, whether there's going to be sports aggregation, whether everyone's going to have, whether the NBA is going to have their app and the NFL has their app, and we're all going to have 20 apps on our TV set. Like, I'm not sure.
Apps channels.
Yeah.
Feels like what it is. Let's talk about the fight. Canelo Alvarez with PBC now under the Showtime banner once again. Big deal for Showtime. Big deal for PBC getting Canelo back in the mix.
Yeah, I think it was a couple things. I mean, look, it really was PBC driving the deal, and he was attracted by the talent pool. I mean, he's at the point where he's doing what a savvy businessman does, and that's look around. Where's the best opportunity? Look at this talent pool. The 68-pounders, the 160-pounders, even Jermell, and doing that. And I think that coupled with our demonstrated expertise and experience in making pay-per-views as big as possible, I think that's why he made that decision.
What would you like to see Canelo do? You're a fight fan. You're a passionate fight fan. Everyone has their opinions on this 3-fight deal, who it should be. Obviously, one of them is Jermell. Who would you like to see Canelo fight the next 2 fights?
Well, I think ultimately, Benavidez is an intriguing matchup.
That's the correct answer.
That is. I mean, style, personality. Look, that's an intriguing fight. Look, there's been a lot of talk about the Crawford fight. If you had asked people 6 months ago, I think most of them would have said you're absolutely insane. But the way he looked on July 29th, all of a sudden it's viable. There's a demand. Canelo, after initially saying, hey, pushing it aside, he might be open to it. That might be a deal. But look, there's Morrell. There's Andre. Whoever Benavidez and Andre wins, and Andre. It's like, there's a long history with Andre and Canelo. Yeah. So there's an embarrassment of riches here. A lot of good options.
Yeah, I personally, no, you're not asking me, personally, Crawford, Benavidez, how can you ever say anything to Canelo at that point?
Yeah, absolutely right. And the thing is, there's a lot of good options for Crawford as well. Whether it's Canelo, whether it's somebody at 154, whether it's staying at 47, there's a lot of mouth-watering, appetizing fights.
What do you think of Crawford saying that he would go up to 168 to face the winner of this fight?
Crawford's not a big guy. you know, as a frame. So I'm curious. I'm curious to say, you know, what would he actually fight at? You know, I'm just guessing. I haven't discussed it with him, but I don't know that he's actually literally, I'm going to put 20 pounds on this frame.
Well, he's posting pictures. He's lifting now. He's a great, I wouldn't say troll, but he knows how to turn the needle up on Twitter.
Right, sure.
So do you too.
I can't. I have my moments. So, look, you know, I think it's intriguing. I think it is intriguing. But again, we had asked before July 29th. I think we all said crazy, but that kind of performance changes people's minds.
I think after this fight, Canelo and Charlo will have a better understanding of the whole landscape. I've said on our show, I love the fact that from 147 to 168, there are names, there are pound for pound names that are all intertwined, potentially be fighting each other. That's great for the sport.
It is something that we've worked on hard, and sometimes it just happens, sometimes it's intentional. But to have some continuity, to say, you know, to understand how fights relate to each other and who's fighting who and what the impact is. And you're right, with what happens on Saturday night is going to determine a lot of things for the next 6 to 12 months. Yeah,
that's beauty. That's the beauty of the sport. It's the beauty of what I do is trying to figure out what's next and trying to get to the bottom of the sport. Errol Spence, what's the latest with that? And there's a stipulation in there that he has to let Crawford's team know if he cannot make 154. I think that was a new wrinkle, something that we learned from Crawford's tweets. But have you heard from Spence? Is there anything latest on a rematch with Crawford?
Still working on the details, you know, the weight, the date, you know, all of that sort of stuff. So not a whole lot to report, but I still think that's, you know, the rematch exercise has obviously been exercised, and now we'll work out the details and figure out when to do it.
Well, the details, would that be something like money? Money solves a lot of things. If Crawford is like, hey, it has to be at 147, there's a way to give Crawford, throw in some dollars here to make it worth his while. Does it come down to money when both fighters are kind of at an impasse?
I'm not sure that money solves that. I think the real question is, where are these guys really want to continue their career? You know, and if Crawford says, look, I want to be at 147, I'm not going up, then, you know, so be it, no problem. You know, and Spence has a decision. Like, I can't make 47, or I'm willing to try again. But, you know, what I think isn't really an option is you're going to say, well, I'd go to 54 for this guy and this guy, but not for the rematch.
I said that too. That doesn't really make him look great. But I don't think Crawford cares about looking great.
No, look, he's at this point. Look, he's earned, earned big fights. You know, the rematch is a contractual obligation. There'll be plenty of opportunities for him, whether it's a rematch or otherwise.
Yeah. All right, that's all I got. One last thing. How do I get invited to the white party next summer? I grew up in West Hampton.
Okay, that's it. You know, I figure if you and I think we can sort of strategize. If you come in from the beach side, sneak in.
That's like we did in high school.
Yeah, and you know, and I'll be there waiting for you. You're dressed in white. You're gonna mix right in. No one will know.
I'm taking you up on this offer. I gotta be at that party. That one shot of you, it was like Kim Kardashian walking past you, and you kept your eyes on the prize. You kept forward.
Oh, well,
you kept forward. I like that.
And my wife, that was the true test of our marriage right there. I passed with flying colors.
Love that. Thank you so much.
Good to see you, man. All right, bro.